Welcome to episode 145 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to all the people who've been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. You're finding it anyways, listen to the thing and you can watch it on YouTube. Right here it is. Every now and again, you have to wait for something to happen to find the right calypsos to play in tune. You know how this thing is go, right? But from time to time, I'm going to just pick an artist and salute that artist. And that artist today is none other than the great Fitzroy Alexander.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I be a man to present to you the former Calypso King. They have a popular Lord Melody, and Lord Melody's coming to knock you out now. I wonder why nobody don't like me. Or is it the fact that I'm ugly? I wonder why nobody don't like me. Or is it the fact that I'm ugly? I leave my whole house and go. My children don't want me no more. The girls in black is white and ting. And when I talk, they start to sing. Mama, look up, boo-boo. They shout. The mother told them, shut up your mouth. That is your daddy. Oh no, my daddy can be ugly, so shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day. I couldn't even digest my supper
Due to these children's behavior.
Johnny Espa, come here a moment. Bring the belt you to damn vigilant. Daddy is G who start your force. No, daddy is Joyce who start to curse. I drag my belt from off my waist. If you see races out the place, Mama, look up, boo-boo. They shout, the mother told them, shut up your mouth. That is your daddy. Oh no, my daddy can be ugly, so shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day. So I take a turn on the mother.
These children don't have no behavior.
I caress in peace in my own place.
Tell me what is wrong with my damn face.
They play with you, be white declare. You should be proud of them, dear. These children were taught to bloom in slack, and that they no kind of joke to crack. Mama, look up, boo-boo. They shout, the mother told them, shut up your mouth. That is your daddy. Oh no, my daddy can be ugly, so shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look up, boo-boo day.
Hey, we have plenty to talk about this week, you know. A man in the midst of local government election, he trying to get UNC people to come by here instead of going PDP. And instead of all this study that West Indies had the man is upset, all the anger in the dock. Why are they doing this? Why we anger in the dock? We have to talk about West Indies. Long time in open sports and upset them woman, you know.
So my wife and I had a big disturbance owing to the constant annoyance. In order to live peaceful and happy, she sent the children in the country, coming home a day after working very hard. A woman see me and she faint me in the yard. The neighbor run and pick she up. She recover but the woman wouldn't stop. Neighbor, I see her boo-boo. All I walking in the backyard. All I went to assist her, she bawled. All I the boo-boo stinks in the yard.
Mama, look at boo-boo there. Shut your mouth, go away. Mama, look at boo-boo there. The great Fitzroy Alexander, the great Lord Melody, you know? We have a few Lord Melody selections to play here, you know? But a long time we start with sports and upset these women and them. Let me do that now. Only upset the doc. I don't like that. The doc have enough on the plate, man. The place flooding out. UNC people who was coming by here, that open revolving door last week, all of a sudden they stand to head PDP and think the man had work to do. Instead of that, the man had to take the time to post this. Here what he say. Today, I saw the worst cricket match ever played by a West Indies team. This amateurish, demoralizing embarrassment has to stop. There's a prime minister of our country. Playing for West Indies requires a desire to fight, to believe, to win. To saunter through defeat is unacceptable. Boy, listen. this is what make me stop watching West Indies cricket. You know, salute my boy Kern, salute men like Daddy, salute men like Juan. It has some faithful ones, you know, Edmund. I have some partners and some family who faithful West Indies supporters. But this statement by the doc is one of the best I hear to ever describe West Indies cricket. It's one man say at a time, West Indies cricket could break a dog heart. That's a great, great Umbala Joseph, right? But he said to son to true defeat is unacceptable, right? Playing for West Indies must be a treasured privilege available only to the best that are prepared to show character in defense of our legacy and our pride. I like that. I like that. To those who these truths mean nothing, they must not be allowed. To those whom these truths mean nothing, must not be allowed out in West Indies colors. I agree with you 100%. So as of this moment, PNM have my vote in the local government election. You know what I mean? It's simple. It's just simple. I vote for very frivolous things. Very frivolous things. So at this moment, the PNM has my vote based on the statement about West Indies cricket. Because a day I was talking to Kern in the office about horse racing. And Kern say, Corey, wait now, you just follow every sport. And I say, every sport except cricket. I can't take West Indies because it's a saunter through defeat. That's the part I can't take. You know, I don't mind backing a losing team. As a Soca Warriors fan, which really gets to, right? But here my sides. Soca Warriors first, right? My first and foremost is anybody in red, white, and black, we backing them first over everybody else. If anybody in red, white, and black playing for any other side, we backing them too. That is the first order of the day, right? After that, my basketball side is the Detroit Pistons. Licks like dirt for the last about 20 years, right? My football side is Chelsea. Who else? NFL, Patriots. I mean, one of the greatest of all time. Right? Come on. But it looks like dirt. It looks like dirt for the Patriots. And I don't jump ship. Once I like a side, I like this side. But West Indies, boy, West Indies hard to watch. And it's this sauntering through defeat I can't take. You know what used to rail bottom back in the day watching West Indies cricket? How man used to have on so much a gold chain. What was a big strong one name? It had one used to bother me. It's Tino Best. It has some of them this guy mad. Keith Atherton. He neat. Not a run on the board. You know what I mean? Jimmy Adams can make runs. But you're serious. I can't take that. And then all them set a chain, man, running up to bowl. And I set a big chain like Byron Messiah and these fellas and them, you know what I mean? Them looking like Swan down coming to bowl. I cannot handle it. I don't like watching them at all. So, but I keep my little ears on the ground because I don't have enough people close to me on the internet these days. I could just find out what's the score at any given time. But to sit down and watch West Indies cricket is hard, boy. And to tell you the truth, when I see like they're winning, I just start to pee but then I start to feel like I heavy in the side when they lost. But this side is heavy itself. Here the side these men are the play, right? Here they run up and they will get Rowley vexed. I could talk for him here as a PNM officially now. I could talk for him here. The lineup here is we playing UAE, United States, Nepal, Zimbabwe, Netherlands, and then Scotland, right? That's when you see them kind of thing. You telling yourself it's soccer. It's soccer. You going through World Cup qualifiers or your warm up matches. You're supposed to be running over these kind of side. They run over. I think all of them, did they win all those games? Yeah, they win all these games from what I see in here. And then you reach up to the Netherlands, right? So which means you play all the games in the way we expect you to play. You win them convincingly, no worries at all. Overs left and so on. And then you're running into Netherlands, who I don't know to have no big cricket in history. I sure if we check Netherlands side, is heavy immigrant. Although I wonder about USA, right? Why USA don't have a better side? USA have enough immigrants from places like India and the West Indies and things to put together what's supposed to be a decent side, you know what I mean? But nevertheless, we come to play Netherlands. And they meant put 374 on the board and Netherlands walk up and beat them. Going on to a super over. So here what it's saying here. Netherlands won the super over by 22 runs. You're on a winning streak. Winning ways is a thing that a sports team has to get accustomed to. When you start figuring out how to win and start to string wins together, that's what make one of the things where they say in Pep Guardiola so great, because when you create a winning mentality in a team, they could be done by how much to Arsenal during the course of the season. You're expecting these men to win, and they go in on the field expecting to win and expecting Arsenal to drop points, and all of a sudden them is was winners of everything. Champions League, Prem, they win everything this year, right? But West Indies can't seem to get together. So I asking Ole for the sake of I believe one of West Indies games playing at the end of this week against Scotland. Scotland are a big cricketing pedigree. I don't think so either. This is side to beat. After that, we had to play Oman. And if there's anything West Indian man knows to do is to beat Oman, right? But after that, yeah, the Sri Lankas and the Indians and these people, the world. I wonder where's the plan when we start to reach them levels, or if we qualify at all. I think this what we're looking at here is some test matches coming up with India later on this month. But we had to seal up the deal in the World Cup here, man, and beat small side and go on to be Viv Richards type champions, and at least in the last days they with Ambrose and Walsh here that dominating West Indies side who was doing it to people, but I don't know. But in winning ways, as we in sports, salute again to the great Angus Eve, the undefeated, impenetrable Angus Eve, the greatest coach in the history of Trinidad and Tobago football. And let me tell you something. When you have to be big enough to talk, right? But you also have to be big enough to come back on where you say when it's time to come back on where you say. I want to go to my spot for all sporting news, particularly for football and Trinidad football. Wired 868. And salute to Wired 868 and Lasana Liebert. Because I was going to start to contribute some article. I was going to start a remix article and send to Lasana based on how these headlines and things working. But when I opened it, I was pleasantly surprised to see a headline that said, Eve, one game at a time. TNT whips in Kitts and Nevis 3-0 for the largest ever Gold Cup win. That is how you said it was the right headline. You know what I tell Lasana too? When we in a tournament, because what I noticed, right, is when Nicaragua get knocked out because of their thieving ways and we get into the Gold Cup, them fellas from Nicaragua, like the fans, is run to pages like Wired 868 and TTFA page and so on. And salute to TTFA or F, whichever one it is. All the fellas social media, it working. All the creating fans. The thing very, very active. And you're seeing more and more of a build-up of support. Of course, winning games helps with that. You know what I mean? And Angus is the man for that. But the social media doing that thing. But when we beat Nicaragua, or Nicaragua beat itself, the Nicaraguan fans just come there on the page to tell you all kind of thing about how we thief and how that's how we gain. So, which means the international footballers and football fans also watching Wired 868 and our local SocaWarriors.net and TTFA page. I remember when we beat Mexico, one of them, and they come on the page and call you all kind of monkey. Is the most amount of monkey emoji I ever see in my life. These people something else, you know. When we beat one of them Latin American sides the other day, or the game end up close or whatsoever it was. So one of the things Lasana had to do is write article, bias the article in favor of when we in a tournament and we fighting for we life against these people. Write like if we're the greatest side in the world. Frighten them. I remember, was it Jason Scotland? I can't remember who it was. Some national footballer I was talking to at a time, and he said that when they go to play Costa Rica, they can't sleep because fans come in all the hotel room and beat drum and play music whole night until it's time to go to the game the next day. They never leave in. And he said fans throwing thing at the bus. This is for regular qualifiers for Gold Cup and World Cup and stuff. And our fans as well as our journalists and things, we need to start again like that. Let's another right, all kind of thing. Or give them some misdirection. Tell them, hey, Molino injured bad and we're not sure if he will play. And you know what I mean? Give me something, be a part of the team. But they went on to say Trinidad and Tobago men's national senior team recorded their biggest ever win in the CONCACAF Gold Cup today as they whips in Kitts and Nevis 3-0 at the DRV PNK Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. The results moved the Soca Warriors at least temporarily. I don't pay no at least temporarily neither. It moved the Soca Warriors to the top of Group A. It's not temporary. That way it is. Above host and defending champions United States and Jamaica, who says nothing because they only have 1 point, right? Who played a 1-1 draw yesterday. We're taking it one game at a time, said Eve at the post-game press conference. We want to reestablish ourselves in CONCACAF. We want to come out on top of the group. I like that. You talk like a gangster. Talk like you're bad. Although I fright like hell, but talk like you're bad. You're supposed to say, this group is Gun Hill. And you see on Gun Hill, the higher up on the hill you go, is the badder it is. And we live at the top of the hill. Tippy top. We want to win the group. Them fellas on 1 point, them are nothing. Them are everything to play for, and we smooth for the rest of the group. A little bit. It goes without saying that Trinidad and Tobago will face tougher opponents than the Sugar Boys. Arguably, they have never faced a weaker foe at this level. I want to be clear on what Lasana say and what Angus say, because I gave him some credit here. When he say arguably they've never faced a weaker foe, I don't like how you're trying to make it look like the enemy was weak. Because Guadeloupe last night, them fellas and them proved that they're not weak. Panama and them beat up people. I think Panama beat Costa Rica. It's no weak. Once you reach in here, it have no weak. We beat them. And them fellas on them supposed to play USA later, right? St. Kitts. I want to go and do what Jamaica do. Hit them at 1-1. Hit them at 1-1. Don't study Lasana. All you ain't no weaker opponent. All you worthy. Go and hit them at 1-1 right quick. Just in case things ain't work out for we. Only hit them at 1-1 now, man. And put we through always one Caribbean people. The group is really Trinidad, St. Kitts, and Jamaica versus USA. You understand what I'm saying? That is the group. Trinidad and Tobago's biggest margin of victory at the Gold Cup before this afternoon was by 2 goals, which they managed on 5 occasions, a 3-1 over Honduras, Guatemala. Well, Honduras twice, Guatemala twice, and Cuba once. The first 2 results came under Bertil Sinclair, with the latter 3 were with during the Stephen Hart era. Sinclair went on to lead the Soca Warriors to the 2000 Gold Cup semi-finals, while Hart managed back-to-back quarter-final runs in 2013 and 15. I believe that the Bertil Sinclair Soca Warriors in 2000 was the furthest we ever reached in the Gold Cup. That was at the semi-final. And this says something, right? There's a story behind the story in this little paragraph here. We went far in the Gold Cup, he's saying, 3 times. 2 quarterfinals and 1 semi-final. And the reality is that under all of them, we were coaches from Trinidad and Tobago. You had Stephen Hart, who up to now I don't find should ever lose his job. There was a boy, listen, and we went through, we paid for firing Stephen Hart. We went through one of the worst patches of football. We went through a West Indies kind of state for a little while. And now we under a local coach again. And of course, Bertil Sinclair, well, his track record don't need no describing, right? Bertil is Bertil. He hopes to match his predecessors, and towards the end, he faces a tough test on Wednesday and probably the most talented roster ever put forward by regional rivals, Jamaica. I'm watching you, listen, all right. Today, the Warriors' biggest challenge is complacency. No complacency by St. Kitts. St. Kitts was real good and we beat them real bad. We bias this thing, but salute to Wired as usual for bringing the news on these things. And that game is going to be, by the time you're listening to this, that game is 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. And some partners coming to watch it and things are very nervous. But if I remember right, the last 2 times we play against Jamaica, in Jamaica as well, I believe the scores was 0-0 and 1-1, or 1-0 and 1-1. We ain't lose to them if I'm not mistaken. But as Lasana say here, them fellas on them pull together a little bomb squad, you know what I mean? Them men have big players coming from all over to play. Jamaica ain't realize it's just Gold Cup. The hell is wrong with Jamaica? Why Jamaica? And Jamaica, in all fairness, is we against USA, you know, so they're supposed to come there and ratchet back that side a little bit. You know what I mean? How they moving so rough with it? But salute to the Soca Warriors. The reality is this, right? When a tournament, you had to beat who in front of you. And when you're in a group stage, you can't ask for nothing better than a 3-0 win over your first opponent in a group with 4 teams. That's what you're asking for. If you're going to the tournament, that is what you could ask for. What we do today is against Jamaica. I don't know if to play for 1 point. I don't know if Jamaica need to attack us all out either. Because if Jamaica get 1 point here, assuming that St. Kitts on them might be tired, the fellas on them from St. Kitts, these fellas had day jobs, and these fellas is postmen and county council workers and all these things. These fellas are accountant, and these fellas not full-time footballers sometimes, you know what I mean? So by the 3rd game in our group stage, they might be tired like dog, you know. So when you see them is get beat up bad when you see the last game of the group stage reach, which you had to expect Jamaica go win. So Jamaica, you don't need to beat we. You can leave with that point. You will get a point yourself, and then go and beat up St. Kitts real bad in the end, and you go be on 5 points. And no, we ain't go. I still don't think we go make it. I still don't think we go make it that way. Like we had to beat Jamaica, boy. But I'll let you know how that goes next week. I'll come and I will let you know if I put down Soca Warriors with West Indies next week or if they still beside. But that is where we are, and we wish the Soca Warriors good luck as always going into these matches. And unlike the complacency, wait does the doctor say? Sauntering through, sauntering through defeat. I don't see that on the Soca Warriors side. No, we're looking like a different team. It's looking like a unit of fellows who enjoying themselves. The social media showing them enjoying themselves, not just on the field, but off the field. And once you have a unit that playing together towards one goal and a coach who keeping you steady on that part, I could back that side, win or lose. All right, so as we on the topic of win or lose, where to go next, boy? The biggest story for the week was brazen murder of social media influencer Kevon, aka Yank Boss, aka River Witch, aka Maureen. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, condolences to his family. It would be rough. And to all his supporters, I want to say that I'm also a member of the Yank Boss Nation and the River Witch. You know what I mean? I'm there. So I was surprised. I was shocked when I saw they kill him. And before I get into the old talk, right? Because Kevon like old talk and I like old talk. Two different kind of old talk, right? But we're old talkers. You understand? And we can't forget that the main point of this story, right? That we don't forget, because they have a lot of back. What I'm going to get into is the back and forth after his passing. Because you have some people who seem to think that when you and somebody is an enemy, you must celebrate and drink champagne when they're dead. Pop champagne like Ron Browse, you know what I mean, when a man dead. And there's some people who seem to think that enemies, when you're an enemy with somebody for long enough, you come like a friend. And I have a few examples of both, right? I don't know which side of the fence I'm sitting on yet, because to tell you the truth, before I get to that, let me just say that the main part of the story is this. Regardless of if it's talk they kill Kevon for, or Kevon had some going on behind the scenes with people that we don't know and is a reprisal killing, because beside just talk and comedy, Kevon used to talk some good little badness too, you know what I mean? He like gangster talk and he fall out with a lot of people. And when I say fallout now, I've never seen a physical fallout with him. Nothing too overly physical. I see a few face-to-face things with Raw Fire, with Delilah. There are a few face-to-face things, but never to blows or fight or anything like that. But it's not beyond him to threaten nothing physical. You always talking about that long knife he have and all that, man, and I fight and I tall and I big. He like them kind of talk. That's how he is. So regardless of if them talk had merit behind it or he had things going on behind the scenes, it clearly wasn't robbery, right? Somebody wanted him done because he had a big gold chain on his neck still when he did. The issue is that even if somebody want to take revenge on you, is this country comes to a point now where people comfortable setting you up in big open spaces in the middle of the day like Trinity Mall, and then emptying it. The report saying from both sides of the car, shots firing to kill him. I think that is the bigger part of the story that we mustn't lose sight of. And if it is that he getting killed for talk, the fact that it's so easy to kill somebody in broad daylight in this country, that's the major issue, despite who it is and so on, because of course, things like this happen every day. But when it happens to popular personalities who have a big following like Kevon, it's gonna get more light shed on it. So I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that is the issue. Imagine you in Trinity Mall, or you in Starbucks across the road where I like to go all the time. That ain't far from them. You know how far bullet is traveling. And all of a sudden, you had to be dealing with gunfire, getting low, you know what I mean, running in a zigzag pattern on your normal day's work, you know what I mean, or you're doing a little shopping or whatever it is you're doing. This wasn't this a Saturday or over the weekend in Trinity Mall? That's prime time inside Trinity Mall, and something like this is to happen. I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that is the core issue. So yeah, I mean, if you don't know him, you must know him, because people, not everybody used to follow him like me. They had a point in time, right, where I get up to exercise. The first thing I used to do is put on that man live and just listen to him while I exercise it. He was like an ongoing podcast. When he started talking, he don't stop. But what make me dial back a little bit is, I mean, it's really a lot of heavy cussing for that early morning now, obviously. You had to be a special person to cuss so much so early in the morning, or even to listen to so much cussing every morning. But I could tell you, for a good little 2-3 weeks period every morning, and that time he was in Amsterdam, from what I understand, by the fellas on the movie Western Need. And then he come back Trinidad and think he was not different. He was going live all the time talking. He used to put on comedy shows as well. I knew he'd do a few with Rachel Price. I was surprised I didn't hear from, well, maybe not surprised, but we didn't hear from Rachel Price yet. But I'm sure she will need time to process this because they look like friends on and off of social media. And they used to be going live with Rachel Price's daughter a lot, as well as with Rachel Price. And he had hosted a show for one of Rachel Price comedy shows. And the brother funny. I don't know if that is everybody's taste. I see people debating whether that is comedy or not. I think it's absolutely comedy. As I say, the cussing and carrying on thing, that is not for me. I think I'm a little too old for that. I always do things to make sure I know that even the things that are loose with or less less hung up on, I try to still do things in a respectful enough way so that, of course, my parents is listening to this and people who have a lot of respect for. But beyond that, I want to reach about 60 something and listen back to episode 41 and feel good. I don't want to cuss and carry on every day like a sailor and this thing written in ink and it's there forever and then think from a long time ago float back around and I'm feeling shame on myself. I want to do something I could be proud of in time and that people could be proud of and people could listen to. I also listen to a lot of radio, a lot of audiobooks, a lot of podcasts, and I prefer things without cussing because sometimes Zachary in the car, so I try my best not to cuss during the podcast and thing. And I find I could make it funny without cussing. I always remember Kevon saying, let's salute to Kevon. Kevon said that he tried comedy and when he do the first couple skits or whatever he had done, his mother tell him, but if you had to cuss like that, that is the only way it could be funny. You can't find a next way to be funny. And he said from that moment on, he decided that he's not going to curse in his skits or his, I don't know what he's called them things, monologue. I don't know what he's called it. But and Kevon is extremely listen, Kevon do a thing the other day, talking about how Trinidadians just hang up the phone. It's one of the greatest things I see. Simple. He say, all right, okay, all right. Talk to you later. All right, cool. All right, do your pickup. All right, do your catch. All right. That's exactly how Trinidad is. And you could do that. You could do that without cussing and be very, very funny, right? But I want to say that you could cuss very stink and be very funny too. You could let me don't pretend. Let me don't play pious. Kevon was very funny. And you had to decide now, what is your taste of comedy? You prefer to go and listen to Kevon and them or do cuss? Or you prefer to go to Kevon and them? And I can tell you that for me. I listen to Kevon every single day. I don't think I ever see one of Kevon lives as funny as he is. But when Kevon's at a cuss, it's funny. The brother is cussing win. Don't matter what. And the part that I really didn't, where I started tuning out it was that every morning he was behind Hamil Hussein, Hamil in a campaign act, Hamil. And maybe it was a little bit funny, but it was just too monotonous. It was just drawn out for too long. I find you should get a fresh enemy. If that's your style of comedy, to get an enemy and cuss them stink. You start with Delilah, you start with Asher, you start with this one, you're going to Roma, you're going to Matara, NCW. Better you keep it rotating to keep me interested. But the Hamil thing every day, I couldn't really handle that. Hamil is ranking Kia boss of Rachel Price fame, right? I don't can you choose modes carefully. I want to end up in an RIK booking. But what you say Kia is? A man who transitions a woman or something. I don't know how to use these things. Me and politically correct, but wherever he is, she is. She used to work on a rival radio station and she and Rachel Price fall out and it was a big scene. It was one of the biggest issues in the country. That is plenty years ago, right? But every day behind this Kia and Hamil and this and Hamil, that got a little bit monotonous and I can't imagine what it would be like because as much as I find it funny, I wouldn't like to be on the wrong side of heating, because when he start, like he no end, it have no finishing. And I was surprised to see in the end the reactions from some of his enemies. It's so interesting, right? And I'm using enemies loosely. I'm using enemies as social media enemies, people who he back and forth with on social media. NCW, the list longer. Ranking Kia boss. Asher, me know who Asher is before he started talking about she. Delilah, I know Delilah from Ian Allen. Sure, yeah. Look for Delilah and Trevor on YouTube. Ian Allen, Delilah, and Trevor. It's one of the funnier Ian Allen episodes. Yeah, Delilah robbing old man from ever since. Well, old man robbing herself. I can't say she robbed him, and then she started to become a very what you want to call it, like philanthropic, helping people and, you know, highlighting people in situations of poverty and women in particular. But she do backward with the cussing night, and she do backward with the cussing. I see two of them meet up. She and Kevon meet up, and there's a cuss out over a stove. And it's obscene, but I like it a lot. I think as make up for all the cussing I do here by taking in these things. But when you saw the response from people who is enemies, it was very, very interesting. Like an older lady, she came and said, I can't remember her name and I couldn't find the clip to play for you, but she said, Kevon didn't deserve to go out like that. She said, Kevon used to cuss me. She said, wait, have Kevon and tell me. She said, he tell me anything. He cuss my daughter, he cuss me. She said, sometimes I come back and I cuss him back. Sometimes I can't take him on. People ask me why I just leave him. She said, Kevon and I know wickedness in his heart. That is just how he is. That, you know, it's a funny thing sometimes when you have somebody who's a sworn enemy, that you could be attached to that person in the same way you're attached to a friend. Stay with me, right? It's not that you openly like people. You might openly dislike them or hate the person, or when them go live, if you're sick, you can't stand them or something. But that in itself is a connection, and sometimes a passionate connection too, because most people in this world can make you feel anything. Ambivalence is what you have towards most people. Most people on the street say something, you don't care about them. There's 7 billion people on this world. Think about it. We connected with very few people in the context of the overall scheme of the world. If the world has 7 billion people and in your lifetime, you meet 1 million. Look how small a percentage that is. And I don't know if you could meet 1 million people in a lifetime. But out of that 1 million you meet, or you encounter, let me say you encounter 10 million, like watching, counting everything, videos, people you bounce up, it's very few of them going to make you respond. It have some of them that you will like it's just like social media personalities. I never meet Kevon or see him nowhere, but a few of his videos and things reach me. I never meet Kevo, I never see him in person, I never meet NCW, I never see him in person, but some of them videos that them do just make me get to like them. And I started follow them now, and they have a husband and wife on YouTube. The man name is Corey too. He always thieving food from the pot. I get to like he and his wife, you know what I mean? Now she pregnant. I invested. I want to be the child godfather. So we get connected with people for what reason? I don't know. I always wonder why we cross paths with people. You know, it's one of my wishes. When my time come and I gone, I wish I could get a highlight reel before you go heaven, right? Let me make the assumption for all of us, right? Before you go heaven, you should be able to get a highlight reel saying, this person who you meet, like when I meet Stacy later on in life, we get married, we have a child, you know what I mean? It would be nice to see if we had bounced up before, like we was in the same party somewhere and a pastor says, excuse, sorry, mister. And you know, things like that are so interesting to me. Like, how do we, the cosmic nature of coincidental relationships we form with people, like, I don't know, you know, is that people you don't know from nowhere just end up starting to talk to them, and social media make that even more of a thing now, because I just know how to act now, you know, when I see people on social media who I don't know in real life, I wasn't be sure if to go up to them and say, hey, how you going? Your name is so, I don't know, because sometimes I just feel like I following them, but they don't know me, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, when I saw that old lady response, it looked so genuine that she is my enemy and he cussing and carrying on, but I feel so sad that he passed, and condolences to his family. And surprisingly, his sworn arch enemy, the #1 receiver of hate and vitriol from Kevin tongue. Oh, pause. But you understand what I mean? The tongue lashings was coming daily. And even when he cussing other people, Kia and Hammy used to be in the mix too. And Stacey, who pointed out to me, you know, when I saw Kia video responding to it, Stacey had said, you know, he looking like he was crying. He looking like he was sad and shocked more than any. All of us were shocked, but he looked like he was shocked. And it made me realize, I say, boy, listen, this life is about love, yes? It's no time in this life for no hate and no, because somebody who you dislike so much, you and all go feel away if they get gunned down like this or if they're dead. And at least for me, right? You know what I mean? I always remember. I ain't gonna call no name, right? But I always remember going to A-levels in Tranquil. And from the time I go on A-levels in Tranquil, I try to play big boy thing, right? Because I couldn't get back in A-levels in Fatima after repeating. So I had to go another school. And Poly done blank me already, so Tranquil was my only hope. But I had to go there playing like, I from Fatima, I better than everybody else. Well, I had a lemon in here, right? I still have a reputation to keep together, right? So I put on my little bad man clocks and I go on and Tranquil now, trying to play some kind of mix between a bright boy and a gangster. to try and fit in there, right? But this is my first time going to school with girls, right? And I could tell you, listen, one of the days I go in this school, one of the first days, I meet forward a girl, I fall in love immediately. Love, if you see love. I say, what? No, to tell you the truth, I saw her because I'm going to school with a woman that it would probably be the case that anybody who me and I, if I make forward, I fall in love with whoever is the first person I see her. It just so happened she was nice and real, you know what I mean? And I start to talk to this girl and thing, but she tell me, you know, she have a boyfriend, and this boy, your boy is in love. Like, I can't get over this, but I'm talking to her whole night, every day I'm talking. But the boyfriend on the scene, and the boyfriend going on next school, I try not to sell out this story or call no names of no places. Any name I call it slip, right? And he going on next school, but the school ain't far. So every now and again, he come in to check the girl, and I'm telling you, when he come to check that girl, my heart sinking. My belly hurts. I can't take it. I cannot take it. I love. And when the man gone, she is all the love in the world for me. You know, nothing physical never happened between me and the girl, but you know them kind of schoolboy love. We it's just talk, and everywhere in the school you see me, you see she. In love. You can't stop now. And eventually, you know, Form 6, lower 6 and upper 6 and them thing just go. So I go on in upper 6 now with this girl. And the man come there to go to school. He switched from the school he was in. He can't get into A levels where he was neither. And he switched and come tranquil now. So this is my enemy now. Me and he don't talk. And let me show you life funny. Life's so funny. The girl who I with now in tranquil, after I get over this girl, and realize that she ain't leaving she man for me. The girl I with turned out to be this fella, good friend. Them is friends now. So I under pressure because this man know I was a wrong girl. I suspect he know nothing ever happened between me and she, but we don't like one another over the first girl. Now he's friends with my gal. So it's problem. Me and he passing one another straight in school. It could go down. I don't like him and he don't like man. It's known, right? And I could tell you that after the girl leave the school, there's the first girl, the one who I was in love with. And he and my girlfriend become friends. Now I in the same spaces with them, all of them linemen together. And thing. I started to realize, but wait, this fella's my enemy. He's one of the coolest people let's have. And that man are trying to hold a screw face. But that man make a joke at time. We sit down in pizza, eating all you can eat pizza. And I trying to sit down far from him, my face screw. I try because now it's he and he partners. And my girlfriend and she friends, and I's the oddball in anything. I could get take. But boy, that man say, I can't remember what he said, but it was one of the funniest things I said. I could not help but laughing. And at that moment, I laughed from then till go on. And that make me realize that enemy thing is a fast, you know. It's either you're connected to somebody or not. Whether you're connected to them positively or negatively, it's a connection nonetheless. Fast forward now. Next one, next thing in tranquil now. You know what I mean? I know her for years, over the years, and think we get good. Me and she kind of want to be together again. I was like somebody who have a man. But me and she trying to get together now, and she have a man. I dislike that man down to this worse than the first one. Because he like gangster thing. He don't talk too much. He like to play screw face thing. I want to be a gangster too, so I screw face right around. We don't talk. And I remember years after. Because no, this one it didn't go the same as the first one, right? Because me and she end up together, and you know what I mean? Or them down and whatsoever. So we bounce up in coconuts, we squaring up, we everybody vex. And I remember going through Trinity Mall that day. This is years after me and she done. We don't even talk. And he probably done with her long. Well, he done that before I finished with her too. Well, I shouldn't say finished with her like that. And we walk past one another in Trinity Mall. And you know when you ain't see somebody long time, and you kind of make out the face in the corner, and two we turn around same time and say, hey, we seen boy. And two we take, and it's only in the moment there, both of we realize, but wait, we's enemy. And boy, both of we laugh and just keep it pushing. And that's the reality of the enemy thing sometimes. A connection is a connection, and it's a funny kind of thing, for me at least. So it makes me wonder, you know what I mean, if me and somebody is sworn enemies and we don't have that moment where you hear the person tell a joke or you bounce up the person and you ain't realize or whatsoever it is. When you hear the person dead, what's your response? How do you feel? Would you feel sad? You get accustomed to every day a man calling your name and cussing and thing. Some people will be glad he dead. Like, you see this woman named Asha? Asha say, I'm glad he dead. I'm glad he dead. It's good. She said he talked about me. He said the worst things about me. He talked about my children and thing. I so glad. I was praying he dead. Boy, I don't know. I'm not sure. Delilah say, Delilah, I think Delilah was on TikTok live saying, just yesterday I was praying that he dead. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm not saying I can't feel this way about somebody, right? Because I know myself too. If it is you against me, I don't have no enemy. But if I do have an enemy and you against me, and especially my family, tell me you're my mother and my wife and my child and thing, I can't like you. And if you're dead, I might rejoice in my heart, right? I might tell my soul, say, you know when you breathe a sigh of relief and you hear somebody say, no more videos, no more nothing from you. Although these days, all the videos he make now recirculating again, and they will continue to recirculate around the anniversary of his death or other similar circumstances later on in life. You will come back up, but at least you don't have to hear that cussing and that kind of thing again. And I'm not sure. I know for sure that I will not. I don't have the my deposit account of karma. Not full enough for me to come publicly and say I glad nobody dead. Not me. I don't want that thing circling back to me. If I say that and I really mean it, and then I lose somebody in my life after that, I will feel like I should not say that. I will go back to that moment and say that I called that on myself. You know what I mean? I saw NCW respond, and they had a more recent falling out. Within the last year or so, and to be honest, I feel it's a mistake falling out too, because I follow NCW, I see every video he make, I see every video Kevon make on it. And Rachel Price was talking about a comedian. Rachel Price was talking about people who playing comedian. I think I covered in an episode of this podcast, so she was saying some people just play comedian and they don't know what it is to be a stand-up comic, and all of a sudden these people calling themselves comedian. To be honest with you, I think Rachel Price was talking about a fella named Junior Lee down south. I think... And Junior Lee also had a comedy show a couple weeks before. And she was talking to, I believe Kevon self saying them people calling themselves comedian and saying them as, I'm pretty sure, she didn't call no names, but at the moment when I heard it from her, I thought she was talking about the Junior Lee fella. Which I also feel like, you know what I mean, let people run their race, you know what I mean, use Rachel Price. You don't have to argue with nobody who now coming up. Your thing set, your legacy set. But she talked about that, and NCW pick up that fire rage because at the time he had a group called the Social Media Avengers, several of whom Kevon cuss on a regular basis. Mataro, what is one name? One of them went gone Canada now. Another influencer, Jamel the Entertainer, Cuban Boy. What the man name who's run taxi in Shogunas again? Sizzle Stick. Who else I'm missing there? He had put together a cast of people to do a show called Mako and Hush was the name of the show. And I don't even think that was the original. Yes, Mako and Hush was the original thing, and then he do Rest the Tour based on I think Matara do it Rest, which was one of the funniest things I had ever seen. But when I guess he was taking it seriously as he should, you know what I mean? As a business, he's starting and building something from scratch with people who don't have a lot of experience. I always give him credit because I saw on social media, he didn't just put together a show and sell tickets. He brought in people to help them with a little acting, and I find that's good. Develop people and develop yourself, and I always commend that. But he kind of take it that Rachel Price was talking about him and kind of fire back at Rachel Price with empty show, and I don't think that's worth it. You don't want to pick a fight with people like Rachel Price. Rachel Price is legend, solidified. Sometimes them say something about you just have to eat that, right? And of course, Kevon pick up that fire rage. But NCW had a little bit more of a, I would say, a cryptic message for on Kevon's passing more than anything else, right? So he didn't go the route of that I might have go and say, boy, oh God, that man cuss me every day, boy, when the man dead, and think, I'm still sorry he dead that way. And he also didn't go the road to Asha who pop champagne and say she glad he dead. But he kind of take it down a road where he used a video to reflect. I mean, he's doing this a lot, right? He have a cryptic way of talking and doing things sometimes. So he did a Monday morning reflection type video, which he's known for doing. And in that video, he said he lost 2 brothers to gun violence or crime. And he knew the people who would have killed his brothers. And he said he went as far as to give one of the brothers, one of the guys, he said one of the guys who killed his brother, come some line he had. And he said he sent somebody to ask for food. And he said he just shake his head and he organized and he bought the food and sent it for the man and thing. Which is, I want to say that I hope to be more like that, right? Like more forgiving and give people grace even when they cause me harm. I hope to be like that. But me and Jesus, me and Jesus, you understand? I just hope to be like that. If they cut my slippers, I might cut back his anyways, but hopefully I am more like that. I think so. I think I'm more like that. But in the mix there, he kind of said that he's using this time to reflect because, of course, everybody waiting to hear what NCW say. So when he make a video and he say, I want to talk about death, everybody thinking he talking about Kevon, but he talk about his two brothers and losing his two brothers to gun violence and him dedicating himself to helping youths and helping them not to be misguided, giving them something to look forward to and giving them some kind of hope, right? And in the mix there, he kind of say, well, karma. And I felt as though when he talked about karma there, he was trying to say that, listen, you're on social media, you're cussing everybody. Anybody tries something in life, you're quick to fight them down and to say this, that, and the third body person. And you meet your karma, directing that towards Kevon. And to be honest with you, I saw a lot of that online, much more than the people who felt sympathetic towards him, who were connected to him, as I say, or the people who say, to hell with him, he dead, good, he dead. There was much more people who had a measured response that said, almost like, nobody don't deserve to go that way. I don't condone gun violence, I don't think, but when you're living so, thing could happen to you. I mean, if every day you finding somebody else to cuss, I see a lot of his supporters saying, you shouldn't dead for talk, and all that is true. I want to live in a society where we don't dead for talk, but I want to also say that this is still real life. Real life have real consequences of social media. You're not going to be able to cuss and carry on, and even if it's for people entertainment, stupid people like me who want to sit down there and watch that whole morning, right? You can't just cuss people every day and make enemies out of nothing and buy over other people's enemies who them, she say something about them respond, you buy over that fight, and you ain't cuss them once or twice or three times. You make that into your act, you make that into your bit and do that every day. And then when people threaten you with physical thing, you respond with physical threats as well, saying come now, to the point where rough fire pulling up by your house, you taking rough fire. I hope all them thing was act, you know what I mean? That those things entertaining if it's an act. Or Trinidad killer pulling up by your house. If all them thing is acting, I find it entertaining, but it will cross a line. Eventually you go say the wrong thing about the wrong person, and the wrong fool will take it in his own hands or in her own hands to do your harm or do your family harm and them kind of thing. So I mean that's where it is on that story. That's just my thoughts on the whole thing. Sorry to see that, like, I was a little shocked, you know what I mean? I myself, I a little bit like what young brother say, boy, the man at the grip meeting. I must watch that grip me video 100,000 times. Good morning, Miss Grippy. I must watch that 1,000 times. He's just funny, but like young brother say, Kevon inspired the Grip Me song. They were just together in studio. He was talking about the grip thing on one of Optimus Prime mixtapes from with that young brother and them is do. And listen, when you see young brother and Hottie and Pimpin and them fellas laugh, I like to see youths enjoy their life in a way. Them men laugh when Kevon say we had to say. Them men laugh from the belly. And you could see young brother is one of them youths who making an effort not to sing too much gun song. I haven't heard any gun songs from him. I might be wrong about that, but he don't carry down the violence line. So when he talk about Kevon, he say, but he's so sorry to see him go. He was the inspiration for the Grip song, of course, and they will continue to push this song and them thing. And in the midst of it, he say it's a song so innocent when he say it. He say, you know, Kevon is a man who used to cuss people and carry on. That was that was his spiel then, his way of entertaining people, and then young brother say, not me, I wouldn't do that, but I find it was such a innocent moment when he said yeah, but again, it's just a hell of a choice to make. And you know what's surprising about it to me? If you know you cussing people and saying, brother, you can't be going in no vest with no big chain, driving through no Trinity Mall. If you know you're making enemies out here, you have to try and make sure that you well. I was going to say covered, but some of these people believe that if you're them covered otherwise. Let me put it like that, right? And he's one of them that might believe he covered otherwise, so he don't need no he don't need no protection or no security or nothing. And I was telling Stacey as well that it has some people, when you see people talking like that, sometimes they may not see death the same way we see death. They may not have a big issue with physical death the way we might have, or some of us might have an issue with physical death. When you hear people talking about the invincible, they mightn't always be talking about the flesh. But before I leave this topic, I just want to say that GoFundMe account has been set up for funeral expenses for social media influencer Kevon Solomon Otley 41 days, according to Jensen Lavend in the Newsday, right? So they have a GoFundMe. Go and search for Kevon GoFundMe if you're so inclined and give. So, I mean, it's still a man funeral, a man dead, you know what I mean? Even if it's one of the enemies and you're missing him, go and give a little something to the GoFundMe. I see they're trying to raise about $24,000 or something like that. They only have about 500 or 600 so far. Listen to, you see all this sort of follower thing? Imagine you have so much followers. They have a River Witch group there every single day, post going every day. And that man only raised about a couple $100 in a GoFundMe so far. It's just tell you sometimes we're doing it for yes, but also, when you see you're making too much of enemies, I'm like, pass out a little thing for Guardian on them every month. Pass out a little thing like Guardian on them. The Guardian on them sort your a little family indemnity plan. Something. Don't go out like this. Because if one of Kevon's enemies had dead, by any means, they get bonks down, they get sick at that oil, and them had a GoFundMe, he'd have cuss from now till thy kingdom comes. So I guess this life is a full circle. But it has something I want to play here from Kevon for you. I'm trying my best here. I will try to edit all the cussing as much as possible. But this is one of the ones from Kevon that I had to laugh.
If you had a grandmother who used to go to church,
yeah,
you understand? You know she used to wear them beads around she neck. Any grandmother, name you Tilda, Malinda, Matilda, Eunice, Agatha, oh God, them old Matilda name, the ancient names that they all couldn't even spell because Matilda had 2 S. Matilda name spelled with 2 S. You know them old grandmother who used to have them sandals with the stockings and the dress matching the skirt, and now we got them leather beads around their neck and they come in and they wave it. Everybody come from to that to stop and talk to the whole neighborhood before they reach home Sunday with lunchtime. That they talked about as they reach home, they pull out. You know, all of a sudden you see Granny have a smile. Nobody know where Granny get a $1,000 smile because Granny smile have a gold teeth. All of a sudden Granny rocking a gold teeth in she plate. You know, them was the most common set of people. Because them was the shoo, my Rita, my Francis.
Listen, he just used to go on and on and on like that for hours. And since it's a Lord Melody episode, I mean, again, rest in peace, them condolences to his family, is one of the cleaner clips that I could find to play that I had find was funny, right? But as we here to talk about Lord Melody, and Kevon done tell me about these old people and them in the commercial ways, let me hear what Melody had to say about that now.
Got some old men playing young,
causing confusion in town.
They got some old men playing young, causing confusion in the tongue. I met a big black one by the grocery who swear to heaven she loved me. She took me home and that was the case.
Old women these days, they rarely bold face.
Let us make love, my sugar pie. For life is short and we may die. Hold me and kiss me, honey. Tell me for once you love me. Let us make love, my sugar pie. This time the old woman drinking gin and scratching me underneath me chin. Oh lad, I jump off the Morris chair. She said to me, look the sofa there. She said, my son, you are just a baby, and I will teach you just how to love me. Before I go to open my mouth, again the old woman started to shout,
let us make love, my sugar pie. For life is short and we may die.
Hold me and kiss me, honey. Tell me for once you love me. Let us make love, my sugar pie. Until I couldn't move again. Then down came a heavy shower of rain. She run on me and she locked me neck. Bawling out, Saga boy, get back. I said my favorite drink is Milo. As she turned she back and jumped through the window. She run me down all through the rain. Not me and them old woman again. Let us make love, my sugar pie. For life is short and we may die. Hold me and kiss me, honey. Tell me for once you love me. Let us make love, my sugar pie.
The great Lord Melody. It could never be Calypso. Calypso is one of the greatest things they ever invented. On to other things. Where should go first? Stay local or go foreign? What we should do next? Because I don't know if I talk about these people in this submarine yet. But let me stay local first and we get back to these submarine people, right? I see a story that bubbled up just before I started record here about Trinity College in Mocha, right? The place where I was going to say the place where people used to go if they can't get into Fatima and them thing, but I don't want to disrespect these young children. This is just a joke between me and the people my age, right? But Trinity, the other college, apparently it's graduation season, right? So Sultan Boy Zachary went and played some music for graduation recently in his new school here. He's seeing several videos and pictures with these secondary school graduations, primary school. I only remember primary school had graduation back in the water. I don't remember that. You remember Cap and Gong and thing? I'm pretty sure Newtown had nothing like that. I remember my mother and the other children, salute to my boy Mongru and his mother, Adrian Gittins and his mother. They had a whole bunch of us who came together and took Miss Sinclair, God bless her soul, to where town is now. I can't remember what was the name of the restaurant then now, but it's where town is now, I believe. And we take them there and we had, you know what I mean, took out, and that was what graduation was to me. I don't remember all this sort of cap and gown thing, but certainly you remember your graduation days back in school, right? Like, I'll say this, right? Somehow I'm not big on graduations. If it wasn't for my parents, I would not go either UE grad. I did not go Fatima grad. Although Father Gregory tried to talk me out of that and tell me how I regretted later on in life, which I do. But I wasn't listening to that at the time. I was just thinking, you know how I used to think about things when I was young back then? A suit might be a 500 for a little Tobiki suit by Detour. Fatima ring was 500. You know, I never buy a Fatima ring, but I don't really wear jewelry, so you know, I must buy a Fatima ring. But Fatima ring was 5 something. The Tobiki suit must be a 500. A shoe might be an next 300. When I add up all that and I see the thing is 1,200, I say, Mommy, me spending all that money to go grad and all. I say, instead of spending that 1,200, just let me hold a 6, yes? Let me hold a 6. Give me a half price out of that. And it's foolishness. I show me and Colonel it all that money. But I was never so, I guess for me, the process, maybe I'd be so focused on the process sometimes and getting things done that sometimes I just forget to stop and smell the roses. I'm trying to get better at that. But I was never very big on going to graduations and so on. But I went to Tranquil grad with one of them same girls I tell you who I was fighting man over, you know what I mean? And I enjoyed that back in the day. I think their grad was in Cascadia. And you remember grad days, you used to get what's the thing you just put on their hand with the flower again? You just put the thing on the hand with the flower. Me even know what to do with this. My mother come and tell me, you have to get a little, it's called a corset. It's a corset. A corsage. It's a corsage. And you put it on the hand and everything with the little kids and things. If you see me with my boy, if you see what? In the game, in the grad boy, you do the bird. Me, the bird, the same enemy. He have a new bird now. Everybody having a great time in Cascadia Hotel back in the day. So I think it's a good thing for these youths. I mean, them days where you're 16, 17 years old. Children need those moments, you know. And I talk about the graduation ball now. I salute to friend of the family, a friend Khadijah, and her son graduated, a little boy Nikolai, a surprise. I mean, he didn't graduate from Fatima exactly, it's St. Mary's, so that's kind of like, yeah. But I watching this man was now a little child. I watching the man like a big man in the grad, chain around his neck and ring on his finger and thing. It's amazing to see how this grew up so fast. Like, I didn't know you're real old, right? But I think it's a moment that we all would remember and had created memories from, whether it's a primary school grad for these youths now or your secondary school or tertiary graduations. It's like a checkpoint in your life, big moments. And sometimes too is the last time you're seeing your friends together in that same way. That is what I didn't understand about Fatima grad, that I would regret. Because there's not much, at that age and stage, you think your friends going to be friends and together and liming forever. And you just don't. Sometimes some of your best friends, you know, like some of my best friends, I don't see them at all. When we see each other, it's just like yesterday, but you don't see them at all. So your school days is really the last time for you to get a kind of togetherness as a group. And I think regardless of what the results might be, or once children transitioning, they deserve those moments. I don't remember in Fatima either, or Tranquil for that matter, that they had a ceremony like a UE or tertiary type ceremony where you had to do the cap and gown thing and cross and get a certificate. I don't remember secondary schools having that, but apparently they have it now. And Trinity and Mocha had theirs. And apparently they didn't allow the boys to collect, some boys to collect this certificate due to their hairstyles. I really didn't think that we was in this era still, because I remember this being a thing in my time, where your hairstyle was a big issue. And if you don't cut your hair, you can't come to school or you can't come to class and them things. And I thought we've evolved past that point. I understand what was the purpose of rules like those. Like I remember going to prize giving ceremony, like I forget what they call it, prize day award ceremony for Fatima students for the performance in the end of term exams and them things. And I remember Father Gregory saying to me, these boys and the COVID thing, so they're home. But when they come back out of school, they had to cut their hair. And some of the boys' hair was a little unruly, right? Like all them women and them who call it sugar pie, see them who's call it sugar pie, them couldn't leave home. You couldn't leave home when you have a grandmother, or you see some of the names what Kevon call the grandparents. You couldn't leave home with your hair like that if you had a grandmother named you Milton, these kind of names. You couldn't do it. But I thought we evolved past a certain point where, okay, you might have a ras or you might have cane run them thing, and we start to be at the point where you had to have it neat or you had to have it groomed or taken care of to come to school. Rather than telling a boy you can't have a dread or you can't have your little curly locks, you know what I mean? Curly locks, and now you turn the dreadlocks. Your mama doesn't want me to be with you, but it's all right. Remember that song? But these youths and them going through it, and I tell them about Stacy little godson, Nikolai here, because the man wanted the little curly lock style, you know, that cane up apparently vexed for the night and them kind of thing. And you had to go back to your time at that level to know how important to you the hairstyle was. You know how I look for that shirt after I get the course, I look for a shirt to I wear a white shirt and a grey pants with my little tie and thing. That was a big thing. What you're wearing, what you're stepping out in. And the shirt was terrible. I going to pick up this girl in Maloney. I had to stop by my grandfather in Maloney before I reached my shirt to iron my shirt again, because I don't care what touchy shirt it wrinkled bad. It's the worst shirt I ever buy in my life. But I also have a center stitch Clarks. Brand new, no crease center stitch Clarks. Or the box, brand new brand, as they would say, right? And I feel like that's part of the journey too. Like I deserve that. When I do so bad in CXC, I end up coming and do better in A levels and setting myself up in a better way. I'm what the fuck, wait now. Coming to think about it, that wasn't my grad. That was she grad. I never went none of my grad. That was her grad. But you deserve that. You deserve to celebrate your moment. You know what I mean? You do good so school, 5 years worth of school or 2 years, or if you repeat like me, 6 and 3 years. It take you a long time to graduate. You deserve those moments. And in those moments, you pick your right shoe, you pick your right pants. The flex is part of the celebration. You know what I mean? So why would anybody in Trinity College in Mocha, as somebody say here, this is from the Kira Dalrymple, right? Assuming she had to be one of the parents who end up in this situation, right? And this is going to reach far because from what I could see, one of the parents whose son was prevented from walking here is a very popular Twitter influencer, right? And she's a Rasta too. Ever since I know her, she's a dread. And I don't know what's her son hairstyle, but I think they picked the wrong fight here. But anyway, the Kira say, dear Trinity College Smoker, why would you do that to these boys? Why would you uphold the rules and rules and regulations that continue to separate us? Why would you segregate these boys from their fellow graduating classmates of 2023 because of their hair? Their hair. These children were ushered and rushed through the side entrance like slaves because of their hair. They were not allowed to walk through the front entrance along with their fellow graduates because of their hair. The students' names were not called to receive their certificates because of their hair. These students were shunned to the side of the church behind a wall because of their hair. She went on, right? They have about 14 of these points, right? Now, boy, listen. I was watching, because it's graduation season in the States, right? And I was watching a few of these videos where you know a Joe Budden podcast fan, right? And they have a guy on Joe Budden podcast called Queen's Flip. Salute to Queen's Flip because he always making sure to big up the Caribbean. He always talking about Jamaica and Haiti because he have roots there and his wife is Trinidadian. Salute that, right? But he was talking on the podcast recently and he's doing a lot of skits and he's a kind of wild man online, right? And he say that when his son graduates, he run up on stage bareback to hug up the child, take off his shirt. He like to take off his shirt, kind of fat man, right? And they banned him from the school, so he was worried about being able to go to his daughter's graduation and stuff. And he said he wanted to make a moment for the son. Now, that is probably taking away the moment from the son, but beyond that, many videos come out every year around this time from the States where the graduating class does different things. So yes, you might see somebody do a dance. So some of them, you remember the year when they had the dab? All of them was doing that little dab. I don't want to look like a woman doing that. But when all of them was doing the dab before they cross the stage, and now they're going to hit the gritty. I'm going to pretend I know what I mean. I hope I say it right too. But you see youths do different dance, somebody might flip. And I always used to think, listen, all you ever doing it in this graduation ceremony. And when you do these things, it's just like Father Gregory telling me back then, just go your graduation. You will live to regret it. I think that the youths who do these things on a graduating stage will live to regret it. In the moment, it's funny among your peers and stuff, but when you start reaching your 40s, you will wish that you just walk across the stage, you shake the hand, you get the certificate, and you respect certain moments for what they are. I think they will live to regret it. But some of them is be overdoing it. Like I say, on the student side, right? Some of them is go too far, but also on the administrative side is like, I saw one girl had to fight a mic out of a woman's hand. You see that? She had to fight the mic out of a woman's hand. Just in the States. Because they refused to say her name for some reason or another. She wrestled the mic out of the woman's hand and then call her name and say, yeah, call my name and slam down the mic. I think she will regret that when she reaches in her 40s. She will realize that was a lot. That was foolish in the moment. She was upset, but she could have dealt with it differently. But I also feel like as administrators or anybody who handed out a certificate on stage would have gone through that moment before. We should do what we could to sensitize and tell them that, listen, they have certain things that are not going to be tolerated and all these kind of things. But you see this notion of waiting for you to make the mistake or do the thing that I say not to do so that I could, as I saw in one of these ceremonies there, instead of telling you, come and take your certificate, the woman throw it back down in her basket until they come off the stage. I remember these youths and them earn this. And however you feel about that in the States, it certainly can't be that in Trinidad in 2023 that their hairstyle become an issue. Well, like who picked this battle? Who wanted to fight this fight? That you're not gonna give these children who do so well in their school and suffer through all these years of school and you ain't gonna just give them the certificate. I feel like it's a huge step back. And you see the idea of holding these things over the children's head, I don't like it. I'm open to feedback on this because I know that children themselves could overdo it, like the ones in the States. And if we leave the stable open and let the horse bolt, then it's a matter of time before somebody whine on their head. You know, in Trinidad, it might be no dab or no grease. Somebody could just whine on their head. Somebody could do a bubbles and a scatter on the stage. And then all of we, including myself, could be coming here and say, they don't deserve no damn certificate. But I don't think the children on them hair is where that fight should start. It's little children. They're gonna have different hairstyles. They're gonna express themselves. Different the hairstyles has been so tied to people racial and ethnic identity sometimes too that it might be where they fight, especially like why would you do that on the day there? They can't change the hairstyle anyway. So I wonder how people feel about it, and I see this story bubbling up. It's still a story on social media, and it probably will stay there because of some of the people who were affected by this. This video itself, at the time I talking about this, done have about 1,100 shares and several comments. People pretty upset about it. So I think it's a matter of time before the Ministry of Education had to respond to this. She just a wire. Kate is one busy. But they're probably going to have to respond to this, and it will hit mainstream media soon. So I'm waiting to see what is the response of the mainstream media before I continue with that story. But congratulations to all the children who graduated, and congratulations to all the parents who have children graduating as well. And them children going to be home for 2 months. You know, not having schools open is be so great for traffic. But boy, listen, 2 months, we have to find somebody's trying to do. I don't think children should be home for 2 months. I had to talk to the Minister of Education about this too. I mean, God, find somebody's children, open back school now. These teachers are too much holiday. All the find teachers are too much holidays. Let these children them go to school till about mid-August now, man. Let all these holiday and then be 2-3 weeks. But anyway, let me talk about local government election real quick now. What is the situation in local government election? More people crossing the floor. The National Transformation Alliance launched now. I want to be very careful here because I see like Gary Griffith, Sue Rhoda Barrett, and then she had to apologize allegedly. I had to get better with my allegedly, and then let me apologize. I want to apologize to Gary Griffith up front for anything that I might say here that would be offensive or anything in any way. I want to apologize to Rhoda Barrett too for anything that I apologize to everybody who name I ever call on this podcast, because I see Rhoda Barrett had to put a little hasty apology on the news source to Gary Griffith saying, Gary, I'm sorry for saying you beat your wife or insinuating anything that you cause harm to any woman and thing. From the time I see it, I know it was some kind of letter was sent, but I didn't realize it was in response to the actual lawsuit that might have gone to court and all that. But I apologize if I have that wrong too. I'm sorry. As I hear in the say, Rhoda Barrett had to pay Gary Griffith legal fees, and I can't afford my own legal fees, so I don't want no problems with nobody, so I apologize in advance. I apologize to the listeners too for not putting this out every Tuesday morning as promised, right? But what I will do, I started to do is the podcast will come out by Thursday every week, by Thursday, right? By Thursday. So in breaking news, before I even get to the floor crossers, the Congress of the People put out a release this week. Get yourself together. The Congress of the People put out a release this week, right? It said, while we continue to seek real and lasting betterment for our country, the Congress of the People wishes to advise that in spite of having several prospective candidates and attempts at forging a true united effort, we will not be contesting the upcoming local government elections. Who signed this? Kurt Sinnott, only wicked. You're a wicked person, Kurt Sinnott. You put your signature on this. The men say, nobody wasn't looking for you to go up for no local government. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who you are. It's like, who? Hi, this is the Congress of the People. Who? You didn't need to announce. This is a waste of time. Ink, pen, paper, pixels, everything that is make up this release is you waste it. Or you could have find something else. Listen, this is where Kevon needs to come back. Who killed Kevon? This is the kind of people you need to cuss think and tell them, have some respect for yourself. Respect yourself. Only parts I release saying you ain't going out for government. Only wicked. Nobody wasn't studying you. But anyway, the NTA launch, they put out the candidates. They say they're going for about 13 seats or 14. I want to apologize if I have that wrong. A few seats, right? And they say they're working with the UNC. They come out and say, here, what is the scene? We're working with UNC. We're working alongside them. And we go. A matter of fact, let me read from what the Guardian says so that if any news get back and I say anything wrong, this is from the Trinidad Guardian, the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, right? by Rhonda Dowlat. Rhonda Dowlat. If you have to address any letters, address it to her. Gary Griffith, political leader of the National Transformation Alliance, will be working with the opposition party United National Congress in the upcoming local government election on August 14th. Griffith was speaking at the launch of his 31 candidates who will become contesting 6 seats in the corporation. The event took place in the ballroom at Queen's Park Cricket Club. Specifically directing his comment to the Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, Griffith said, I intend to walk with even members of the opposition because you're going to lose San Fernando as well and you're going to lose the local government election. This, you see, these are the statements I was been telling you about politicians. This man's statement had to listen to how they campaign. Them don't campaign for we, them is campaign against each other. These men not here to talk about what they're gonna do or what they're gonna do different. These men here to say, you're gonna lose, we hate you and you need to go immediately. You know what I mean? I go walk with them because you're gonna lose and finally get lost up here. Griffith also called on political parties that are not taking part in the election, like COP, to come on board. This is your opportunity to work together as a team to unite Trinidad and Tobago after it's been divided, fragmented, virtually destroyed because of the arrogance and hatred and the bitterness of one man. It's time for us to turn this around. Gary, all you had to do is plant a seed in West Indies cricket, right? All you don't know how to use distraction on. Bring back men like Keith Atherton and these fellas and them who they look pretty and don't make no runs. Bring them back, get them on West Indies team, and then Rowley will stop being so arrogant. You'll be too distracted by this. But anyway, he went on to say, we are here, this National Transformation Alliance, we are here to build, not to divide. We are here to make Trinidad and Tobago as good as it can be. And that is why we have quality individuals here today. Gary urges candidates to lift the bar, show the country what politics is about. Well, first show us who you are. We don't know you. Show you that you can raise the standard. You will have persons saying that, yes, I want to be a politician. Campaign manager Dirk Barnes, in his brief address, said he was completely surprised at the high caliber that exhibited their interest in joining you. Dirk, you shouldn't say that. If you're the campaign manager, why the hell would you be surprised at the... Anyway, so salute to the NTA. The NTA is here. Go and vote NTA. The color looking like it blue. I've seen a few hairstyles in the NTA here that would not have been let into Trinity Mocha graduation. But we here. The color is blue and we're voting for NTA. The 6 seats, I ain't see which is the 6 seats, I'll keep all it posted as we get closer to the election on which exactly to see if you have NTA in your constituency. And you could head across to support them. One of the things that always fascinates me about elections and nomination and all these things is when nomination day came, which went last week, right? Early this week, the nomination day would I believe Monday this week, but let me tell you something. I want to know if these political supporters, if they ain't working no place. It's the strangest thing. I don't understand why in a local government election, mostly with candidates who I feel is a good thing, but like by nature, they're nondescript. These are not like very popular people on a national scale. I hope that they are very popular in their communities. And maybe they are, because what you tend to see is a political rally accompanying the nomination of each one of the clients. What do you call them? Candidates. Tassa beaten, steel pan. People make it. I always wonder, these people not working no place. You see it on UNC and PNM side. NTA, budgets, constraints might be an issue. I mean, they might get a small party. Just get a few people clapping, them and their family, right? But certainly for the big budget parties like the PNM and UNC, you're finding like these people putting out a whole entourage with them, and there's a whole scene in the middle of the hot Sunday. I wonder if these people have nowhere they're working. When they're going and beat drum and take, what is he doing? UNC also launched, I saw this, right? I saw Machiavelli Ali Bocas, John Michael, or we call him Maca. Entertainer John Michael Ali Bocas, popularly known as Macamillion, is the United National Congress candidate for Marabella West. I'm following him on social media too. He's an entertainer, manager of several entertainers. I know Buffy was one of the people who used to manage back in the day, and several people. I mean, he around for a long time. You know, Charlie's Pudding. Charlie's the family. So he told reports. This is from the Guardian again, in case he's somebody who sent letter to. He told reports. he entered the political arena to fulfill the dying wish of his mother who passed away from cancer 8 years ago. Just before she died, she said, John Michael, I would like you to do one thing for me. I said, what's that, Mom? She said, I see you as a politician, and at the end of the day, I'm just fulfilling my promise to her. So I salute to you. Mommy say he had to join the politics. He's a mover and shaker, right? He's done a lot in the entertainment industry. He's been around for a long, long time too. And I saw him making political moves up to before the last election. He was very, very involved in the UNC and things. So I feel like we need to see more of this in the parties, right? I tend to lose faith very, very quickly when you sign up with one of these political parties. But I suppose that is naive of me, because how else you going to make change unless you're in the system? And probably your best chances with one of the two big parties. And I was asking some friends recently how y'all feel about joining the political arena. And well, all my friends, this is learned men, this is very bright men who I trust that will contribute, and very honest men as well. One partner come out and say, boy, listen, he said that he didn't use the word naive, but he was saying that, he said, I trust people too much and I go get my throat bust. I can't join that. And other people like myself is be worried about the reputation and so on. But I think a part of me, and I was talking about Owen, and I hope somebody talked to Owen about his dress code. But Owen and Japan and fellas putting themselves up in it. Maybe in the next 10 years, you know what I mean? Maybe when I get older and I have less to worry about and I have grandchildren and thing, you know what I mean? Maybe. But you see just how Maka mother tell him, join the politics. Just yesterday I went by my mother and she said, boy, whatever you do. she said, whatever you do, don't go in that. Don't put yourself in that at all. And I could understand anybody's sentiments when it comes to them things, you know. So, Safraz Ali is a man who used to run for UNC. And UNC said, nah, you can't run here again. So he went for the PDP, you know what I mean? I'm not clear on exactly what seats the PDP will be contesting and where they're going. I have a sneaky suspicion that he will run for some seats, but he will not run in seats that Gary Griffith is running in. I don't know why I feel so. I feel like, if you know what I mean, I just thinking out loud, you know what I mean. I'm not sure, but he's a man in the Sour Baratara area. He went and thing already. Was it Sour Baratara or was it Sour? Yeah, it was Sour Baratara. Somewhere in that thing. Sour Laventille Regional Corporation. And the UNC say, nah, you go can't make, so you go into the PDP. So we have in the local government election, the PDP, the UNC, the PNM. And I believe they had listed out a list of independent candidates as well. So good luck to everybody who going up. I want you to take a minute, right? I don't think I have the time to get it in the episode on YouTube. I'll typically put it in. If I can, I will, right? But if you ain't see it, go on Newsday page. And you will see Wade Mark. The thing is on Newsday's Instagram page, right? It said Wade Mark shares love. Opposition Senator Wade Mark was sharing love to all, including PNM supporters and at least one government minister, while candidates put in their nomination papers for the local government elections on Monday. And you saw Wade Mark there. And Wade Mark was having a great time with the people who are the PNM supporters, as well as the government minister they're talking about was Stuart Young, right? A long time I didn't see Wade Mark looking happy and laughing. It's almost like throughout the whole clip, he was happy and laughing. It looked like Twiggy he was talking to at a PNM. He tell Twiggy, if that was Twiggy, or he tell the person he loved her about 20 times in the little clip. He gave him some fatigue, he hung up, he laughed. Listen, it's one of the heartiest laughs you ever see in your life. And I feel like that is what we need more of in the politics. Again, I vote for very frivolous things. And at the beginning of this episode, I was 100% PNM based on Rowley West Indies comments saunter into defeat. But I think I'm switching back to the UNC. After I see the way Wade Mark laugh and enjoy. Why this guy just laugh and enjoy himself? And you know what I mean? This kind of sinister getting at one another thing. It goes back to the same thing I was talking about at the beginning of this episode. And this constant creation of enemies, almost to the point where all you forget all they're there to represent actual people. Sometimes they forget that they're people at all. And then when they remember it are people, like they only remember the people in yellow or the people in red or the people who supporting them. Wade Mark is a senator for everybody. So when you see them laughing and talking, and it sometimes it make you question the people who fight these things in such a who create battles out of these political things and create real enemies and them kind of thing when these fellas and them really out there having a good time. So salute to Wade Mark. You have my vote. Wade Mark going up for local government elections. I find they should put them back. They should make a switch one day. Put in nondescript people in general election and all the big boys come and fight local election. You know what I mean? Come and fight Faris. Faris should be a councillor in the next election. The fellas come down the road and meet people and greet people, man. Let me talk to all you. Anyway. In some foreign news. Hey, wait, I had Lord Melody to play noise. I might just forget what I do it and then when the episode done, I just now remember. I just now remember all the songs that I was supposed to play. So let me just go back to Melody quick now before we get to Ocean Gate. Lord Melody, one of the things that I admire about him is the uniqueness of his voice and the way he used to put together songs. Like he had a interesting range when he was singing calypso in terms of vocal range, right? Where he had a way of going up into a falsetto kind of styling within almost all the songs, and it's kind of make you wonder now, like, why didn't arrange his song in a place where you could sing? But it was just his style. And I remember when Harry Belafonte passed away, we had spoken about him taking a lot of Lord Melody songs, and they were friends, you know what I mean, and making them into international hits. But you know me, I like the original, traditional Kaiso style. And in his bio, they said that he would have been pretty much discovered by Kitchener and stay close to Kitchener over the years. But one of the things that would have bring Mello fame was his good friendly rivalry with the great Mighty Sparrow. And again, it shows you, if Rankin Kia Boss could cry when Kevon dead, it shows you that even enemies, even in putting back and forth and peacock, or if Wade Mark could laugh with Stuart Young, that back and forth and peacock must never leave our society. And we must never live in a society where the back and forth and peacock go any further than back and forth and peacock. We must be able to gauge other peacock and then sit down and laugh and take a drink together. And this song is representative of that for me. Walking, people say she's shaking. She should get a corset. What a good she carrying. She should wear a harness. She feels like a mask. That is why the boys are squashing Redmond Jackal. So much champagne. As she reaches the nightclub, she searches up a man. That is why you black up she eyes, when she up in the land. When your wife walking, gotta listen to the range, listen to how his voices go deep, and then he started to get high up in a false sense of bad. Well, your wife is your wife, I can't tell you who to love. But it's awful to me that you love you. If they have another Grenadian with nasty habit like you, Sparrow. When your wife walking, people say she's shaking. She should wear a corset for the look she carries. She should wear a harness. She wears like a mask. That is why they make us country and not Japan. Ocean Gate. Now, this is a tragic story, right? First and foremost, rest in peace and condolences to the families and everybody involved in this tragic, heart-wrenching story. And it's something good to laugh at, but the best side of comedy is always coming. Like, people say you shouldn't laugh at tragedy, but tragedy is bring the best side of comedy. Is because I see this story, and I feel sorry for the people who dead in this thing, right? I mean, if you don't know this story by now, where have you been? You've been down by the Titanic, but bunch of billionaires pay a man $250,000 a piece to go down and see the Titanic. Now, first and foremost, the Titanic is one of the greatest stories of all time, right? One of the greatest tragedies the world knew. A heavily marketed and well-publicized ship that going to cruise. You know what I mean? Take a little sailing and them thing. And the sink. You know the story. Hit an iceberg, the ship sink. We watch the Titanic movie, gross billions of dollars. We watch Rose and Jack, completely fictional story, but we love this story. All the men with the violin, they start to play and the ship sinking, and then they try to run, and then my band was playing, and he come back and he play the violin. We're gonna die together as a band. Rose and Jack die together, and these stories are a huge story, right? So is the Titanic a tourist destination? I feel like it is. Everybody interested in it. We look where we is. We in the Caribbean. We should be the last set of people who want to go and find out anything about any ship. Because you see me, I like the idea of going and see the Titanic, but I feel when I go down, suppose I bounce up the wrong ship and then they take me again and they carry me somewhere else and then it's 400 years water work again. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go nowhere near. I don't want to pass. I don't want to pass nowhere there. And so I bounce up the Nina, the Pinta Maria, and the Santa Margarita, whatever they call them, 3 shipwreckage down there. Not me. It's a certain ship with me I want to see again. And so my ancestors keep me down there. So people say they pay $250,000 to go and see the thing. This man, Richard Stockton Rush III. As you hear a man with them kind of name, I don't care if he's selling job, I don't want. As your name too fancy and you have a thing and the third, don't name your children after yourself, right? You see, when you have a son and you name your son Junior, them they turn out to be alright. But you see, anytime they start to name the third and the fourth and the fifth, con man immediately. Don't. If your name is Junior, find a new name to get your son. Do not name them Junior. Don't as they start to reach the third and thing is con man status is we looking for. But this man is how he is, a flight test engineer, you know what I mean? American businessman, the man trying to get his thing going. I saw an article from somebody from the New York Times, I believe it was, who went on take a little test ride on it. CBS. The CBS reporter saying she don't feel he was a con man. It's just basically he believe in the design. Now I have some exclusive things. You know all these guys get all the exclusive reports. I have a few exclusive pieces of news from this Ocean Gate submarine implosion that I'll give you here today. But it's just so much around this story that just fly up and become one of the biggest stories out of nowhere. Like, all you went in this submersible and they started to look for the submersible, and by the time I really latch onto the story, they had about 8 hours worth of oxygen left in the thing. So they was having doubts already about how likely it is that people would survive, because of the length of time it would take to find the vessel, and they only have 8 hours oxygen, the chances was grim. It'll turn out the thing implode, right? And I mean, when you look at videos of imploded vehicles or imploded vessels or tubes, it ain't look good. But as many people or the experts would have said, these people would not suffer. They say when you're going down there, the pressure alone, long before that implode, they could have been dead already. It's sad. But boy, when I watch this thing, and I see this man carry these people down in a thing where the toilet is behind a window curtain. It's a curtain, everybody just thinking, you know what I mean? And here you have a PS5 controlling the thing. And you know what's the dumbest part of this story? These people and them went down in a vessel that had no windows. So when they gone down by the Titanic, they was watching anything on a screen. And it make me, I wonder what conman school this man went to, because I would have carried them right down in Shaka Shaka. I would have been right on the seabed. As a matter of fact, my whole vessel would have still be above water. How long it takes to reach down there? About 2 hours. I was making 2 hours worth of noise and playing my PlayStation control. All this time my AI, I'm making all kind of noise and you seeing all kind of thing on the screen. And then after about 2 hours, I waking everybody up. I pull the curtain and tell the man come out the toilet and I say, look, we reached by the Titanic. What you want to see? You're seeing Jack, Rose, the violin man. You're seeing everybody wears plate and spoon and knife and fork and think I showing you down there. And think I collect my $250,000 and I go. And then I take about 3-4 hours. I have to tell the story now about the pressure outside. It go take 4 hours to reach back. You're getting my extra 100,000. The pressure went up. And I take my time and joystick my way right back. And we reached nowhere right which part I was when you went in. Just like, you never went on them ride in Disney World. I wonder if you ever went Disney World. This Stockton. Do you ever went Disney World? I don't understand what these people put themselves through that for. You make all the money in the world to be able to pay $250,000 for a ride to see something. You will go, and you know, I feel sorry. The man who gone with his son, they say the son didn't really want to go and he thing, and he end up going because his father, and they say it'll be a good journey. Dead. Like a nit. For what? And there's another story around it too, where a man, like, his stepson, one of these billionaires' stepson, he partying and having a good time. The man say he broken like hell. He broken and seeing hard time. His man got down in a 250 capsule down in. Listen, these people are never something else. Yes, but I have a couple exclusives here to tell you about. Because, believe it or not, after this tragedy happened, these people and them put out an ad for a pilot, right? They put out an ad for a new pilot. In other words, I'll get the job description. This is real thing I telling you about. The real stuff. If you could Google this for yourself and go and see what it is. But I'll give you the real JD that they put out. The men say they need the name of the position is a submersible pilot / marine technician. So in other words, the pilot part is so that you know how to do the thing. But a marine technician mean if you start to take on leak or it's too much pressure, you could hammer all that down there. A technician, right? You're supposed to be able to fix that. But before I get on to that job description, I also found a list online, like a shopping list that Stockton had for building the thing. Because as the CBS reporter said, the man believed in his design, right? He believed in the design and he decided we going for it. You know what I mean? So in coming up with the design and building the thing, the man is an engineer, right? And I just happened to come across online the list of things that he was asking for to build the design. I want to go through this list for you, right? So first and foremost, he has a 40-inch flat screen TV from my courts. Porcelain toilet bowl and 40 yards of PVC, scheduled 40 PVC from Rowlers. Whole like 6 cases of glue from Elsa's. 322 straight edge from my Lal's Hardware, a length of steel from my Army Hardware, a 1/4 dozen pack of gauze from my AA Lackeys, a ring from my Anton's mounted by Mother Cornhucks, a bucket of flat white and a gallon of clear coat from Sherwin-Williams. He getting it wrapped by Graphic House, you know what I mean, to put on the branding and everything. 1,200 lengths of 1-foot rope. They say the Titanic is 12,500 feet deep, right? So you order 1,200 lengths of 1-foot rope and 1,200 zip ties. You know what I mean? But he must forget the last 500 feet. So this was this man's shopping list. You know what I mean? Some sheet steel from down by Desai Hardware. This man just put together. This man is a MacGyver. Them fellas went down. Them fellas went down there with MacGyver. He also had 6 cases of anti-pressure spray, some bop. So if the pressure come up, they had 6 cases of spray to spray all the pressure down. I don't understand who in the right, like, what was his sales pitch? These billionaires, I assuming these people know about life, they live, they travel before they see a lot. All you really believe in this man design? This man lacking 500 feet of rope just to pull back up the thing, if anything, why would they all go in this thing? I don't understand. They have some stories before about people who were supposed to take it. As a matter of fact, he was being sued by some people. I can't make this up. This from Business Insider. Couple dropped the lawsuit against OceanGate CEO for not refunding them for cancelled trip on his sub after he died on board. So these people were suing him, right? So a couple who sued the CEO of company behind the submersible and imploded last week have dropped their lawsuit following his death. Sharon and Mark Hagel from Florida sued OceanGate Expedition CEO Stockton Rush earlier this year after they said they weren't reimbursed the $210,000 they paid for a trip aboard the Titan submersible, which was cancelled multiple times. They say, like most around the world, we have watched coverage of the OceanGate Titan capsule with great concern and enormous amounts of sadness and compassion for the families who've lost their lives. We honor their zest for life. I don't think they had a zest for life. We honor their zest for life as well as their commitment to the exploration of our oceans. Them should have gone and look for Chip Chip. I ain't lying. I wonder if I could tell people about Chip Chip expedition. Our Chip Chip expedition coming on down in Guaya. You know what I mean? You could dig for you're guaranteed to come back alive. Guaranteed life. How much all you pay me? All you have something in it? All you have something in it? What we gonna do? You know what I mean? Christmas coming up and the man making money these days. So they say they pay a 20,000 deposit and Stockton never get them back their money. You know what I mean? No, they pay a 20,000 deposit and then they wire him $190,258 in February 2018. And they say they keep cancelling and they keep pushing it back and rescheduling the man. You know what I mean? He is duct tape. You know, you remember the supply chain thing with COVID? The duct tape didn't come in time. Or they could have just waited on the man. But the good news is that they dropped their lawsuit. And OceanGate is already looking for a new pilot because Stockton died. Right? So they're looking for a new pilot. And I'm telling you, this is, I'm reading this how they put it here. The management of OceanGate Inc. has an immediate opening. Immediate opening. For there's immediate opening for a sub-pilot marine technician to help manage and operate our fleet of manned submersibles. So these fellas have a fleet. It's a more in these things. Ramlagan is going to make money. Listen, I think they say what they're looking for is an exhaust pump too. They're looking for an exhaust pump just in case, you know what I mean? But we are looking for a committed, competent individual with a combination of strong mechanical and interpersonal skills. You have to have interpersonal skills. You have to be able to, we're going to talk about while you're going down there, right? Who can work on sensitive marine equipment, perform regular maintenance, and operate complex systems to support dive operations. This is not an ocean sciences or marine research position. This is an excellent opportunity for a high-energy professional who's interested in interested in long-term position with a growing who's interested in a long-term position with a growing company. The successful candidate will be self-driven, you have to be very flexible because when it implodes, you have to be flexible, be good enough. Very flexible, positive, and willing to work in a small. The successful candidate will be self-driven, flexible, positive, and willing to work in a small, close-knit environment. Must have the drive to follow through on tasks. Follow through on the tasks. If the men tell you 12,500 length of rope, don't come back with 12,000. What they say? If they tell you 12,000 zip ties, don't come back 500 short. It must be goal-oriented. A competitive salary and benefits, including a medical package. They say due to the nature of work that we do, all employees at OceanGate are expected to fulfill the following. You're supposed to be authorized to work in the USA and below the USA. You have a valid driver's license. Have a license. You have to be able to drive. You have to be, don't forget that, you have to be able to drive. You must have 100 hours at least experience with Xbox, PlayStation, Atari, Nintendo. Yeah, at least 100 hours experience, right? Live streaming would be an asset. If you have a live stream before, that would be an asset, right? Salute my boy Christian and them. Christian could do this, you know. You could get the boy Christian and them to do this. You could work autonomously with limited daily supervision because you're not going to be supervised. You could do what the hell you want here. You must have a positive attitude. Must have a positive attitude. You're energetic. And you must have a good sense of humor. This is legit on the people website. You know. I think they leave out that you must be a damn fool. You have to be a damn fool because, and I don't know who work in HR in this place. Them men post this as a career opportunity. I want to read from you since you feel like I'm making this. This is from Mashable in India. It appears that the recent incident involved in the Titan sub-tragedy did not impact Ocean Gate as the company posted an immediate need for a submersible pilot technician during the unfortunate event. Ocean Gate Expeditions, already under significant scrutiny due to the loss of 5 lives in the ill-fated submersible destined for the Titanic, is now encountering further criticism due to this job listing. The online world has been filled with conversations surrounding their recent job advertisement that aim to find a candidate who could oversee and operate Ocean Gate's collection of crewed submersibles accompanying vessels. You see, I tell you, these men post this. I think they say you have to have a little bit like plumbing experience to be an asset to in case the toilet break down on the way there. You know what I mean? It's all in all, it's a good little opportunity. Look how much episodes we spend here talking about opportunities to earn US dollars. All you wouldn't want to go and work Ocean Gate and dedicate all your lives to home playing game whole day anyway. This wouldn't be something that you want to try to do. And I have some suggestions too. You see, all these car thieves. We should be sending people on internships and sending people on apprenticeship programs with Ocean Gates and identify all these sets of car thieves. All who, when you get them talk online, they want to shoot and kill. Broad daylight murder everywhere you see it. We can get some little apprenticeship, and they say lack of opportunity is one of the reasons for crime and wealth disparities and these kind of things. We could take plenty of this budget that going into beating TASA and all this sort of foolishness for local government election where them now start to, it's a good thing they dredge out a part of the thing by Carney there, because just up to yesterday is Maraval River Bussy Bank and overflowing. Carney looking like he ready. He ready for the action. He like what Maraval do. He ready to Bussy Bank too. And flooding all over the place, Londonville, St. Augustine, all about it, flooding, terrible flooding, all in people's houses, water. We have enough people here to be able to take money and forget all this other thing. We're not spending it on what it's supposed to be spent on anyway. Take the money in the treasury. Wait as they have a heritage and stabilization fund and start something that allows people to go on internships and apprenticeships with this Titanic sub people by Ocean Gate, and let me get this place nice again. Anyway, it's time for me to come out of here. I hope all you enjoy a little week. The rain is looking good, looking like we all over the place. It have a few songs I want to leave you with here. I could do that for you. Based on the shopping list for Ocean Gate, I want to play a piece of Lord melody here for you. And let me tell you, let me see if you remember this. If you remember this, you're good old and you're supposed to remember the advertisement too. But let me see if you remember this. This is all part of the shopping list for Ocean Gate.
Beware the peddlers in tongue, a police nearly carry me down. Beware the peddlers in tongue, a police nearly carry me down. At the corner, George and Maureen Square, a young man approached me there when I think he was begging for charity.
Here what Ocean Gate went on by.
Exposed to me, he exposed old boots, old shoes, old petroleum lamps.
A suit from an old concentration camp.
Needles, thimbles, scissors, and thread.
A photograph of Soca head.
Yes. Ashtray, cigars, old picture frame, walking sticks, and old switchblade. When he asked me what I was buying today, I tell him, Mr. got sheepskin horseshoes for male and female.
A 6-inch gun from a cowboy trail.
Woman panties and powder puff.
A clip and loaded right up with snuff.
Yes.
Rice bag, flour bag, honey and crate, nail files and shoemaker tax. When he asked me what I'm buying today, I told him, Mr. Relax. Whitewash, white lime, all kind of rag.
A piece of a German flag.
Pillowcase, nighties, modest and socks.
Rimless glasses and old matchbox.
Timbrels, earring, eclipse and bead. Up came Constable Reed. He said, young man, you got a lot of nice things here that I really need. But where you get this?
Where you get that?
Where did you get the superintendent hat? This nightie look like me neighbor own. Where did you get this tenor saxophone? Let me go down like you own the whole of town. This time me hand on me mouth. When I read the evening news next evening, it was a whole tea from down from south.
I have a few more to play for you, know. I have a few more to play. That fella I like a lot, so it's hard to pick some favorite songs. But one of the sweetest is a letter. Yes. hard to beat, hard to beat. Proper arrangement. You hear that piece of trumpet solo inside the middle, boy? Bad man, I have a few more to play, Again, a treat today, right? Because I decided already, and I said it many times before, that what I am going to do is just choose a calypso and play Kaiso from that man. I know I started with Melody, and Melody is one who would have passed on already, but I want to do this with some living people too. I don't want to just wait till people pass away to do episodes like this. So I want to leave you with 2 more, because when you're talking more Melody, it could be hard not to play this.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, happy am I to present to you the Lord Melody, who made Mama Look a Boo Boo Day, Creature from Black Lagoon, etc., etc. He's coming to tell you about the preacher and the bake.
Well, a Baptist preacher living peacefully with 4 little children in Laventille. A Baptist test living peacefully with 4 little children in Laventille. His work was selling sweepstake, so one evening he rose up some bake, went to sleep and get up a bake missing. So he wake up the children and started asking. He shout out, Jonah,
Yes, why?
you take a bake here.
No,
One gone. Well, the power fly up in the old man head. He wrap a belt and nearly kill the poor children dead with whop, 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 whop. Well, we are living next door, well, a trembling. So I rush to the partition and start knocking. Good Lord, neighbor Wimberley, I beg you to have mercy. That couldn't alter the situation. With the ignorant man, he beat the children as if he was beating a snake. Just because he was short of a Johnny Bake, he shout out, Friday!
Yes, why?
You take a bake.
You take a bake here?
No, why?
One gone, one gone. Well, the power fly up in the old man head. He wrap a belt and nearly kill the poor children dead with whop, 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 whop. Well, I decided finally to go over and investigate the matter. In the power, he made some explanation. In truth and in fact, I couldn't understand. He said, well, I'm tired with this boy Jonah, and like I always talking in vain. But believe me, neighbor, I ain't talking again. Jonah,
Yes,
you take a bake here.
no, why?
One gone, one gone, one gone.
Hard to beat, hard to imitate, you know what I mean? The great Lord Melody. I want to leave you with this one, which is one of my personal favorite. In terms of singing and, I say parang, right? But in playing music and thing, this was one of the first Lord Melody songs I learned. And there's a song that make me fall in love with Lord Melody. And I'm leaving only with this one for this week. It's heavy rain, there's still a yellow alert. And, we had to watch the water alert, different from the flood level alert. In terms of the rainfall alert, is a different thing from the water level alert. It's trying to get confusing now, but I find myself in Tongue yesterday and driving through flood to reach home. It took me nearly 2 hours to reach from Port of Spain to Tongue. That's why it had no podcast on Tuesday, right? It's the rain. Blame it on the rain. But this is the one that make me fall in love with Lord Melody. Enjoy the week, stay safe, and it's crazy love.
Crazy love.
Crazy love.
Crazy love. Well, if you want me to love you, you got to love me too. Girl, I'm telling you, if you want me to love you, you got to love me too. Girl, I'm telling you, donkey, yes, I'm loving you. I can't get a kiss. Oh no, darling, what kind of love is this? Your crazy, crazy love is what I'm dreaming of. You're haunting me, and my heart seems to bleed. Darling, love me or let me be free. Anytime I ring you on the telephone, girl, you're never home, and
But
you
you
tell me your mother doesn't let you out of sight. Whether day or night, girl, you're playing with me, love. I'm a jealous man, don't try no screws or else trouble in the land. You're crazy, crazy, your crazy love is what I'm dreaming of. You're haunting me, and my heart seems to bleed. Darling, love me or let me be free. You don't tell me your family don't like to see me face,
But that's not the case. The important thing is that I love you sincerely. Do you love me?
living without loving you will be your unhappy life. Once more, I beg, darling, will you be my wife? Your crazy, crazy love is what I'm dreaming of. You're haunting me, and my heart seems to flee. Darling, love me or let me be free.
Ba-da,